everyone, this is Doxy Mom and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't done so already, I greatly appreciate if you hit that little red subscribe button. You can ring the bell for notifications, and if you like this video, just give it a thumbs up. Well, I've got a sleepy Miss Angel, and we're going to bring you the news in 15 minutes or less. And first, guys, I just want to say I have the greatest subscribers in the world. Thank you for your prayers. I'm feeling much better. I don't sound a whole lot better, but we're going to try to get through this. Because 107, well, he had an interview with Spaceshot 76 about a week ago, and I'll link it. Now, it's a 2-hour interview, and I'm just going to hit the highlights. First, he talked about Field McConnell, who Juan is very concerned about, and Juan just wants to be there for Field, but at the right time, because it's still very early on. And Field, well, he needed to stay under the radar in his show so it didn't look like he was a threat. But at the same time, he was slowly waking people up. Juan says, wisdom is the ability to see future consequences of present actions. And that is so true, isn't it? Now, Juan says that Field has the courage of his convictions, and yes, he does. Now, will you agree with everything Field says? No. There are probably some things I've said that you don't agree with. We don't all agree on everything. But Field, he's standing up and fighting in this war, as others sometimes just sit around, do nothing, and just criticize every little mistake people might make. But the main point is that people have benefited from Field's work, and Juan says he's a friend, and people should support him. And guys, he's right. We have to stick together, because united we stand, and divided we fall. Now, we as a community have been getting stronger the past 2 years because of certain channels and information from Q and other sources. And President Trump, well, he knows it because he can feel the energy at his rallies. And this pumps up our president and keeps him in the fight. And when the truth comes out, guys, we will need to help others from the other side. Maybe you have friends and family that have told you, oh, you're crazy, or you're a conspiracy theorist, or Hillary Clinton, she'll never go to jail. Well, maybe they've been rude to you, talked down to you. Well, guys, we can't do that to them. We need to be the bigger person. We need to go around saying, we don't need to go around saying, I told you so. We just need to help them understand that they've been lied to and kept under a spell. And we should share the truth with them in a loving way so they can begin to heal and unite our country. Now, Juan says we have senators and representatives who were sellouts for personal wealth. They traded the well-being of our country for a few pieces of paper and a little bit of fame. They sold out lives on the battlefield so they could have their globalist ideals realized at some time in the future. They're the most despicable people imaginable. Now, Juan goes on to say this. What President Trump and the team around him are trying to do is reverse and unravel the coup that took place that has dominated our country, arguably, for all these years since President Kennedy was assassinated. And when you look at Kennedy's gravesite and you see that big letter Q, that's why the letter Q was chosen. And did you know that they pray every single day in the Oval Office? Isn't that wonderful? So thank you, Jesus. And they pray for strength, for resolve, for focus, and President Trump, he's always trying to point us to certain things and drawing this repeated reference to President Kennedy. Now, Juan goes on to say that President Trump, in many ways, is similar to the efforts that President Kennedy had in place. President Kennedy had the internal fortitude to resist all of the military command and all of the intelligence people and all of the momentum and just say, no, I'm not starting a war with Cuba. And that's the same way it was with President Trump. Everybody's putting all this pressure on him to stop Iran and Syria, a setup to get us into the next world war that is now being exposed. So this very bad intelligence community crowd and the corrupt State Department crowd, along with these outside agencies or advisory groups that counsel on foreign relations, like the Rockefeller crowd, well, they're all trying to control the direction of the government in both Kennedy's time and today. And we all know that when Kennedy wouldn't go along with them, well, they shot and killed that poor man on November 22nd, 1963, and the world mourned. All those except the evil deep state cabal, including George H.W. Bush. Now, Juan starts talking about Stefan Halper, who's been in the back pocket of the C_A all along. He was a spy inside the Reagan White House and became an operative on the banking side and coordinating the actions of the C_A in England. And he's the one that coordinated the big plan of how we're going to take care of Trump. Here's the insurance policy. This is what we're going to do to make sure he isn't elected. And if he is, well, we've got options. We'll just come back and impeach him. Yeah, so Halper, he's a very evil man. Then Juan says this. He says this is Casino Royale on a global level, and the determination of President Trump, military intelligence, and the NSA to go after the evil C_A and all their buddies, domestic and foreign, and the other intelligence agencies working with the globalists against us is amazing. We're watching a world poker challenge for all the cards. Our country is on the line. Our future as a people is on the line. And we all need to be praying for President Trump that he can win this war. And yes, we do. Now, in my opinion, we're going to win the war because God is on Trump's side. But it's hard for many to understand the magnitude of the monster that we're fighting. And they aren't going down without a fight. There are threats behind the scenes, things people have no clue about. One says they had a plan, something much bigger than 9/11, and thank God that President Trump and the team, well, they stopped all of that, along with other terrible things from happening, things we'll probably never even know about. Then Juan mentions we should never forget the brave actions of Admiral Rogers in going to President Trump, asking him to run for president, and then helping him since he's been elected on the NSA side, and to methodically go after the monsters in the C_A and the globalists and other organizations coming after our country. So thank you, Jesus, for Admiral Rogers and for all those fighting for our country, along with General Flynn. Now, Juan moves to George Soros and says that George wanted a civil war in every country and wanted Antifa to be worse than ISIS. Can you imagine? Now, Juan says people have no concept of who George Soros is, but according to Juan, George is a puppet of the C_A, of the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and a puppet of Satan's, just like Mark Zuckerberg. You know, because Zuckerberg, he didn't create Facebook. Facebook was a DARPA project to collect people's information to be used by the New World Order. Now, this is a war between good and evil. I've been saying this all along, guys. Excuse me. Their goal is to enslave the whole planet to a handful of bloodline families. And that is what this war is all about. And it's up to us to educate those who have no clue as to what is going on. Then Juan starts talking about federally sealed indictments. He says normally there's around 1,500 waiting to be unsealed. It's a big process. Evidence is presented to a grand jury and an indictment is given and kept sealed while the investigations continue. And you don't want to let the cat out of the bag early, so you don't serve anybody yet, and other indictments can be added along as the investigations continue. And then you pop them all at the same time. So right now, he said, as of about a week ago, there was 134,570 federally sealed indictments, which is close to 100 times more than normal. And these are waiting to be served. Now, Juan thinks a majority of them are related to election fraud, yet many are in criminal and treasonous areas. Now, Juan says he knows many people are frustrated because things have been moving so slowly, but don't worry. They are proceeding, and the question will be, can you keep up, and can you do it in a way where you don't push away your neighbors who haven't woken up as fast as you have? So we need to be ready to help them, not chastise them because they didn't wake up when you did. And then we will take back America, and the next step is to take back the world, guys. So we want to get the slavery hold off of the world, and that's why Juan often says slaves no more. Now, only a handful of people know the actual plan, and they're not going to tip their hand and let the enemy know their plans. Juan thinks it won't be real for a lot of people until Hillary is arrested. And President Trump said, remember when he was running, if I was president, you'd be in jail. Well, we have a president who, when he makes a promise, he keeps it, and justice is coming. That's what Juan says. Hillary will go to Gitmo for treason, along with Comey, Brennan, Clapper, and many others. We get one shot at this, so we have to remain patient. And if you see something, say something, because Juan says there is a spiritual component to this, and we are fighting pure evil. So at the end of the day, we need divine assistance, divine protection, divine backup, and divine direction. So if you want to help out in this fight and in this war, then pray. Pray for God's help and protection around our president and all those fighting for our country. And just understand the timing is in God's hands. Well, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, this is Doxy Mom, and God bless you all.